Mom.
Nice party, Miss Parker. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Guess we have new neighbors, eh?
You mind if I run along with you?
Richard Parker.
Oh, hey, Eddie Otis.
Sorry I'm late. I'm Catherine, but everybody calls me Kay.
I would like to propose a toast to neighbors and friends.
How long you been married?
14 years.
Have you been faithful all those years?
What's the trick?
To which?
Marriage.
Trust, I guess.
Trust. That's very interesting.
I can't remember when I liked the guy as much as I like you, but the truth of the matter is you're a wimp.
Eddie, careful!
You think you can be alive without taking risks. You want to make love to my wife, but you're afraid you'll get caught.
You are insane, Eddie.
This is how you die. These little things you deny yourself.
Samples taken from the victim's body prove you had sex with her, and the murder weapon has your prints on it.
You have to help me understand this, Richard. Please, help me.
I didn't kill her. I'm telling you, it's a lie.
Evidence, dear boy. Evidence.
This is a nightmare.
Who is Eddie?
Come on, Richard.
Where'd he come from?
Come to Papa.
What a setup.
Welcome to Dorking Out. My name is Sonia Mansfield, and I'm a consenting adult. Or am I? Oh, joining me is my podcasting sister from another mister and the co-host of Dorking Out, Margot D. Hello, my friend.
Hello, my friend. I don't know if you can see me. I'm Rebecca Miller in this movie. I'm off at a distance. There's a haze around me.
Everything's all fuzzy when you're on
Right?
screen.
They're trying to Patricia Clarkson us, like they're trying to, make us think that it's Patricia Clarkson who should have been in this part. And I'm nothing against Rebecca Miller, but she's playing the Patricia Clarkson part, right?
Yes, absolutely. We are dorking out about 1992's Consenting Adults. We were inspired by the recent episode of You Must Remember This, Katrina Longworth's podcast. She's doing Erotic 90s, and she was talking about consenting adults. And this movie's been on our list since the beginning, and Margot's like,
Right.
girl, we need to do consenting adults. So glad that we're talking about this. It's directed by Alan J. Pakula. Yeah, who did All the President's Men and Presumed Innocent, which is also on our list.
Yes.
And The Pelican Brief, which I think might
Also on our list.
also on our list, written by Matthew Chapman, who also wrote 1994's Color of Night.
Oh, the Bruce Willis showing his dick movie.
Yeah, we should definitely put that one on the list. Who doesn't want to see a Bruce Willis showing his dick movie? Woo! This one is starring Kevin Kline, Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio, Kevin Spacey, Rebecca Miller. I totally forgot that Forrest Whitaker was in this movie.
Yeah.
I was pleasantly
I'm sure
surprised
he was
to see.
happy that we forgot that he was in this movie.
Seriously, everyone in this movie's like, please forget that Consenting Adults was a movie. Did you see this movie in the theater?
No, it looked absurd. And I saw a lot of movies in 92.
Yeah.
I went to the movies all the time. But this was one I was like, nah, this sounds skeevy to me.
I 100% saw this in the theater because as we were discussing before recording, like early 90s thrillers were they're my fucking fave. Like because they're preposterous. They are ridiculous movies and I love them so much. So I definitely saw it in the theater. I didn't like it. Like I was like, no, this movie's terrible. It's still pretty terrible, but very watchable in my opinion. It's at its core, it's sleazy and shitty. Mm-hmm.
But goddamn, if it's not watchable.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. We've done like Sleeping with the Enemy and Hand That Rocks the Cradle, and these movies are ridiculous, but they are super fun to watch because they're so ridiculous, I guess, and they're like competently made. And although I'm gonna maybe this one not so much because there's definitely some things where I'm like, what?
What was wrong with this guy? He directed All the President's Men.
Yes.
Sophie's Choice.
Yeah, he's directed. Yeah, some really good movies, and this one is not one of them.
No. And it's been noted in the IMDb trivia that this is Kevin Kline with a mustache, but not doing comedy.
Yes, that's right.
And at one point, we'll get to the plot, but I'm like, wouldn't you notice that? Okay.
Yeah, we got to get to it. So,
yeah.
I'm like, should we just go through the plot, or should we?
Yes.
Yeah, let's.
It deserves that. Yes.
Yes, this is one of those movies where we just need to go beat by beat. So, Kevin Kline and Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio are like a married couple, and they seem to have like a pretty good life. They're married.
Yeah.
Right? They're married for 14 years. They've got a sweet daughter who is apparently like very like musically gifted. So she's like going away to like some music school. I don't know. But, you know, she's home like every other weekend or something. She's young. They work together in some sort of agency or something because Kevin Kline's character is a commercial jingle writer. And is she like, I don't know what her role is in that, but they apparently work together. I don't think they make it very clear what she does, but
she's a business lady.
Oh, okay. She's one of those
90s business lady.
90s business lady. Put that on your resume. And they seem to make a good living, although we're told they have some debt. They have this nice big house.
Huge.
And like, I don't know, they're fucking Kevin Kline and Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio. They're like very beautiful people. Like,
right.
They seem to have this good life. Then their neighbors move in next door, and it's Kevin Spacey. And Rebecca Miller, who I keep wanting to say Rebecca Hall, but it's Rebecca Miller. And she has a thing where she's like, I don't really want to hang out with our neighbors, which I kind of get, because if you meet the neighbors and then you don't like them, they're right next door to you.
It's awkward. It can be very awkward. My parents lived in a cul-de-sac, and that was their big fear. Like, what if we're surrounded by assholes?
Yeah.
Yeah, which is definitely a thing.
It's kind of like how you don't want to like date people you work with. It's like the don't shit where you eat thing. Like,
right. What if it sucks?
Yeah, and then you're stuck.
You have to
like
see each other every day.
Exactly. Right. Like you're just fucking trying to like take out the trash, and there's your fucking creepy neighbor. Hi, you want to sleep with my wife?
Well, let's get through this.
Yeah, so they become friends. Like they start going on trips together and just like having each other over for dinner because they live right next door to each other. And
they can see to each other's homes, which comes in there.
Yeah, that comes in. And they start they just start spending a lot of time together and getting to know each other. And like Kevin Spacey's character Eddie he gives financial advice, quote unquote. That's his job. And he connects with Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio's character because she's random 90s businesswoman. And then Kevin Kline is, plays music, does his jingle writing, and it turns out that Rebecca Miller is a very talented singer. So they all click and bond in their different ways.
Right. The men meet while they're jogging, a very 90s thing.
Very 90s.
Jogging without headphones, which would be my nightmare. First, somebody joining me would be like, "Oh God,
who wants to jog and talk?"
Who can?
I can't.
I can't. Yeah, I can't. I can't jog and not have music. I can't. When I was a kid, they used to I'm super old, but they take like a boom box out to the field because that motivates you to move. It's just the way I am. But they see each other. But first, they notice there's neighbors moving in because the whole montage of the moving truck.
Yes.
And I live in a very crowded neighborhood, so that happens all the time. You do kind of wonder, like, ooh, who's coming in? What's it gonna be like?
Absolutely. You want to spy a little.
You want to spy a little. You want to see what kind of furniture they have. What's their deal? And he really rides a motorcycle like off the truck towards the house, with his frosted tips. By the way.
God! So
he's sporting hair.
Have we ever seen Kevin Spacey with this much hair? I don't think so.
I think it's like one of his first rugs.
Yes.
I detected a little bit of difference, but I did see like he put some sun in and some mousse.
Let's talk. We got to talk about Kevin Spacey right off the bat. Like, Kevin Spacey is a fucking creep. We've done a whole episode of What a Creep about Kevin Spacey. But let's say this. He is, however you want to think about it. He's a very talented actor, and like he's so good at playing fucking creeps. He's so good at it.
Has so much charisma. It's ridiculous. He can just make an eye roll, and he's saying so much. Like, I will give him that. He's super talented. He's super watchable.
It's gross. It's upsetting.
And I know, because I like him the best because he's the only one who's playing himself. Like, he's the only person.
He's definitely playing himself.
He's definitely playing himself.
Except everyone here's consenting adult. Like,
we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Because it's ironically named, and yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So they're becoming friends. Like, they go out for drinks, and she goes on stage and sings blues. And Kevin Costner's just like Davy Jones when he'd see an attractive girl in the Monkees, and his eyes are turned to stars.
Like every time Kevin Kline's character Richard is looking at Kay. That's Rebecca Miller. Yeah, it's like
beautiful.
the big, soft, like wet eyes, like that you would see in an anime movie. Like, like, it's just like it's so obvious. It's like he might as well be walking.
He might
as well be walking around with a huge boner. Like,
I'm always like, they show his face. Like, if they were to pan down, he's like basically giving himself a handy. I mean, he's so and they make this is also like a shunda, which means a shame in Yiddish. But they make Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio look dowdy.
Yes,
and they really try to ug her up, and she's a gorgeous lady with gorgeous curls and perfect skin.
Yeah, she even says a thing where she's like, "I'm not drinking right now because it was making me fat. Didn't you notice that I was getting fat?" I'm like, ugh.
I was up to 120. Oh my God.
Oh! The horror. You didn't tell me this was a horror movie, Margot.
The horror. So she's right. So she's kind of this stiff.
Yeah.
You get this idea. She's like a little dissatisfied. And you can't understand why. Kevin Kline, I keep saying, when I say Kevin Costner, I would love to see Kevin Costner in this movie too. I would like to kind of see what he would do with it.
Yeah.
Kevin Kline's though a great actor. He is. Shit material.
I love Kevin Kline, and
right.
It's funny you mentioned the mustache because in this movie he looks very much like his character from A Fish Called Wanda.
I kept wanting to like smell his armpit and then run.
Like, don't call me stupid.
That's that whole. We could definitely do that movie one day.
Oh,
very problematic, but a funny movie.
Yes, exactly.
They're hanging out together, and he definitely has the horns for Kay. And Kevin Spacey is like, "Oh yeah, it's working." Like he has this look on his face. You like my wife? You like my wife? How do you get it with your wife? You've been married 14 years. You haven't fucked anybody yet. How is that possible?
Oh my God, he's such a creep.
He's such a creep, and it's presented like he's just bullying him into like the Kevin Kline's character, by the way. He's writing jingles, Sonia, but he wants to write real music.
Yeah, he's being held back by his totally stagnant life that he's created for himself. Like, you know, at one point he like fucking smashes like a monitor. He's so frustrated because he wants to be a real artist and he's stuck writing commercial jingles. It's like, fucking pussy, just do what you want to do then.
Do what you want to do, but you can make a shitload of money, by the way, writing successful jingles.
Correct.
And then
he is such a pussy. He is such a pussy.
Kevin Spacey, the Kevins, okay? Spacey figures him out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
This guy's a mark. Like he's insecure. He seems to have everything, but he's super insecure.
Correct.
So basically Kevin Spacey's like, what's really going on with you? And Kevin Kline admits we have like 25 grand in debt. It could be like the house or credit cards.
It's like nothing, by the way. That's like not. I'm like, I know, like
it's 30 years ago.
Yeah,
so
but
it's say it's
not
more
like millions.
70.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, exactly. You can sell the house, or you could get a second mortgage, or you could, for God forbid, downsize. It's just you and your wife and the one child.
What?
Right. They're in Charleston, South Carolina, by the way, which is beautiful.
Yeah.
But anyway, so of course, Spacey's character has a boat. You know, they go out on the water. He could do all these really fun things, and they include them along. But Kevin Kline's really feeling like, oh, these people have real money.
Yeah.
Like we're getting by. Maybe it's putting the daughter through private school. Maybe,
yeah, maybe.
Maybe that's it. But or just it's hard to make money, y'all. Just whatever the circumstance is. So Kevin Spacey sets up a bike accident where he crashes himself and then wins $25,000.
I was literally watching the movie and paying attention, and I was like, what the fuck just happened?
What?
Like, the Kevin Kline character quote unquote accidentally hits Kevin Spacey with his car, and he fakes an injury, and he fakes it for quite a while, apparently.
Yeah.
Walking around with a neck brace. Like, Kevin Kline's walking around thinking that he's practically paralyzed his new friend, and it turned out to be an insurance scam.
Yeah.
And he's like, ta-da! Like,
Here's $25,000.
Yeah.
Here's your part.
I've paid off your debt. Ta-da! Like, it's very weird. It's very weird.
But he takes it.
Yeah, but they take it. Yes.
But they take it because they need it, and they're like, well, be stupid not to at this point after everything they've been through. But now they're beholden to him.
Mm-hmm.
And this is when Kevin Spacey really like plays into Kevin Kline. You want to bone my wife. Yes. You want to go to the bone zone. You really want to. y'all want to go at this.
You want to bump uglies with my wife. You want to.
Right. They don't talk.
You want to pork my wife.
You want to boink my wife. Let's do all the nail. Let's like
nail my wife.
Let's do Burgess Meredith at the end of Grumpy Old Men and just go through all these filthy.
He wants to play hide the salami.
He's taking the skin boat to Tuna Town.
That's my favorite. You want to take the skin boat to Tuna Town with my wife?
Right? But that's what he's saying.
But yeah, now, and Kevin Kline's like, he's not really denying it, but he's like
attracted to her because she's beautiful. But wouldn't he be?
Yeah.
But it's not like, but it's treated like they play catch football and he tackles her and their bodies are together.
But
it's
okay,
so cheesy.
Another thing here, we're talking about people who are in their 30s or 40s. And they're like playing like fucking softball or like touch football. And I'm like, I don't do that with other couples. Like I've definitely had like couple friends back when I was a married couple, and we all know how that ended. But like, we did not play like touch football together because we're fucking adults.
I'm not a Kennedy. I don't spend my downtime doing that, but these people do.
That's fine. Whatever. That's their thing.
It's always presented that the men are discussing their desires for the other person's wife.
Yes.
And then Kevin Spacey says, "Hey, do you ever do it when you're just like half asleep?" And he's like, "Sure." And he's like, "Well, I got an idea. Why don't we switch homes, like when your wife is falling asleep and my wife is falling asleep, and we'll bone them, and then they'll never know the difference because it doesn't matter what they want."
Nope.
Never comes up.
Yeah, there's no for a movie called there's no consent in this movie called Consenting Adults. It isn't about what the women want. I mean, Kevin Spacey's character is saying the women want it too. I'm like, if they do, then fucking talk about it.
We never get their perspective on anything, by the way.
No.
We get the Kevin's perspectives, but we don't ever get the wives. We have no idea what their interior lives are. We have no idea, we know that Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio is living with a sad sack because her husband like explodes when he's writing a jingle.
True dat.
Or he's like taking money from the neighbor to pay off their bills. Her character is all over this place.
Oh my God, all over the place. And this is not talked about, but what is happening here, obviously, is fucking rape. This is rape.
It's unconsensual sexual assault.
Yes.
It's sexual assault on someone who, you're slipping into this person's home, into their bed and stripping them.
Yes.
Not using protection.
No.
From what I can understand.
Yes.
Like this is all and the person's half asleep and there's somebody else there. And I guess he doesn't kiss her because she doesn't notice he has a mustache. And Kevin Spacey. But so they played softball.
Yes.
And then Kevin Spacey's like, all right, it's time.
Time for wife swapping. Whee!
So he runs over, and she's in a perfect position for him to slip in and slip it in.
Ayo. Like,
Ayo.
yeah, at no point, first of all, it's like Christmas time. She's sleeping naked on top of the covers. I was like, that's not a thing. Also, at no point does, like, he clearly, I guess let's just be a little crude. They do it from behind. Like,
That's what, yeah,
like
that's
at
what
no
makes
point is there like
eye contact
or
kissing.
kissing, because first of all, she would know because the mustache.
Or caressing.
Also, look,
Really?
as someone who was married, you would know the difference.
Okay.
Okay? Like, I'm not going to get into like horny details, or maybe I will. No, I won't. But like, you know. This is one of those things that happens in movies, and oh my God, it happens all the time in soap operas, where it's like, did we have sex last night? I don't remember. Women know if they had sex last night.
Yeah.
And women, like, she would know. Let's assume that
He's
everything
gonna smell different, or he might have hairy legs, or he might, you know what I mean? Like,
they
there's gonna
feel
be
different. There's
different.
It's different. Like, let's assume that like what Kevin Kline and supposed Kay are doing is the same thing that Kevin Spacey and Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio. Let's assume that Kevin Spacey goes over and he's fucking Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio. You mean to tell me that she wouldn't know the difference between Kevin Spacey and Kevin Kline? Of course she would.
He's shorter. He's got blonde hair. I mean, okay, your contacts are out. I mean,
Yeah.
does the dick feel the same?
It's
Brass
different.
tacks, it's different.
This movie clearly written by a man, like, because
oh yeah,
dude, ask a lady in your life to proofread the script for you.
But no, that's the whole point of this movie.
Yes.
So what we understand is, so Kevin Kline rapes Kay.
Yes.
Comes his character.
Mhm.
He's a good man. I'm not accusing him of that, but his
Right.
character, we're supposed to understand. He's leaving. He's like, well, that was fun. And he's slipping out, and Kevin Spacey's kind of giving him a wink and the nod, like, all right, this
Yeah.
was fun. You go home now. So he goes home, takes a shower, and then he's like going down to see his wife. And I sent this to you, and it made me laugh fucking hard because I'm a child. But she's reading a newspaper, and there's a huge ad on the back page of it.
Huge red letters.
Huge red letters, and it says backdoor sale. And I just lost my goddamn mind. I laughed so hard. And then I filmed it, and then I sent it to you immediately, and you hadn't seen the movie yet. So
Yeah.
you're probably like, what the hell is
And
this?
then I see it, and I'm like, oh, I get it. I get it. But
that is, nothing's an accident there.
no,
Okay,
no,
that newspaper, everything.
100% meant to do that. Like, they're not even sly. And
No.
I want to talk about, like, as the two men like pass each other in the night afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, Kevin Spacey's character is like almost like high-fiving him, like, yeah, nailed it. Like,
Told
fucking,
you we could do it.
yeah, singing and dancing and all this stuff. And then the next morning, like, Kevin Kline, there's backdoor sale, really, which is all I could see in that scene. But
And you're welcome.
but there is a whole thing where he's like, and then he's like looking at her, and he's like, I love you. And she's like, okay, cool. But I'm like, do you love her, you asshole? You gave a man permission to rape your wife.
Right.
I'm like, so at that point now, I'm like, fuck these people, but not the women, but fuck these people.
Not the women, but fuck these people.
Yes.
But let's keep going. 'Cause
Yes.
It's so banana. So you don't know if Kevin Spacey and Mary, you just sort of implied that they did.
Yeah.
Who knows? But what we find out, all of a sudden the cops show up.
Mm-hmm.
And turns out Kay, her head is bashed in with a baseball bat or softball bat. Is there a difference? Yeah.
There's probably a technical difference, but yeah.
Right. So she's beaten to death in her bedroom, and it's Kevin Kline's DNA that's in her.
Yes, his DNA is all over her, and his fingerprints are all over the baseball bat because they had played softball the day before.
And Kevin
Dun, dun, dun.
Spacey shows up and it's like, that man killed my wife. He was having an affair with her and he killed her.
Yes.
And Kevin Kline's like, Roro.
We agreed to wife swapping. And his wife's like, nuh-uh.
I'm just here for the pussy. I swear to God, I didn't kill anybody. So immediately the cops arrest Kevin Kline. Immediately, Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio is like, you fucking pig.
Yeah,
and she should.
She should. And I will say, this is probably the only realistic part of the movie is Priscilla, that's the Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio character, there's some serious evidence here that Kevin Kline did this. Like his fingerprints are on the bat and the semen and all of that. And she's like, what the fuck? Like, how could you do this to our family? And she has like this speech where she's like, I don't have the strength to be a good wife and a good mother. So I'm going to be a good mother. And she's like, fuck you. Like, asks for a divorce and wants to take their daughter and move away. I'm like, that makes sense to me. Like, it's it's almost the only real thing that happens in the movie.
Yeah, she makes the choice you should be making in that moment. She's got to protect her child.
Yes.
He definitely, like, she thinks they were having an affair and then he beat her
Yes.
up. He had a meltdown like a week or so before right in front of her where he was like throwing the computer equipment around.
And she probably saw that he was like spying on Kay through their house, that he was probably walking around with a fucking hard on for her all the time.
Right.
Like, it makes sense that she is like, yeah, he did this. What doesn't make sense is that like almost instantly she hooks up with Kevin Spacey's character
and has her daughter move in with them.
Yes.
Like they're all living together. He's her new boyfriend.
It's within fucking like a week or something.
And it's not like Shania Twain and her husband where it was a whole thing where they were both being cheated on and lied to and found support for one another. That's like, this is like, it happens in a week. Like she's basically just,
And Eddie's wife has supposedly just been murdered. So he's pretty quick to like move on.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, you're cute.
Yeah, fuck it. I need a woman around to do some labor for me and take my fucking dry cleaning in, and so I'm alone, you're alone. What a perfect match.
Right. So Kevin Kline, he's out on bail,
yes,
but not in jail, and he hires a private eye, which is Forrest Whitaker, little baby Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah, he's just a little baby.
He's probably like 40.
I know.
He looks so young.
He does look so young.
He looks so young and handsome and everything. And he's like, hey, I'm going to find out what's going on. And then Kevin Kline, who we're told is a musician. Well, he is a singer in life. He's does all this Broadway stuff.
Yeah,
and,
he's done musicals
operettas
and stuff
like that. Yeah. So he hears a band. He hears on the radio a song.
Yes.
And he's like, that's Kay.
Yes.
And it's a live blues event at a club. And a radio station does this.
Radio is this thing that people used to listen to, and it had commercials and stuff. Ask your parents.
And it had on Saturday nights, a lot of them had concerts.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you couldn't afford to go to a concert, you would listen on. There was Rockline. There was like a few different ones.
Yeah, kids, you know how you sometimes stream Coachella? We used to do that all the time, but on the radio, and you couldn't see it. You could only hear it.
And if you were lucky, you had cassette tapes, you would record it, and then you had to flip it over. Okay, anyway.
Yes.
But he thinks he's hearing this like she's in the next town over singing blues because she has such it's a very pretty voice. It's not Rebecca Miller's voice, it's somebody else. But he hears it, he goes immediately runs to the bar, and it's like crickets, like, oh no, that was taped last weekend. He's like, fuck. And but they're like, oh, I think we're playing another gig, you should come. So he goes to the gig, and there's Rebecca Miller in a red wig.
Yeah, she's got red hair now. Right.
Because it should have been Patricia Clarkson. That's what they were going for.
No slight against Rebecca Miller. No. She's beautiful, and she's doing exactly what she's supposed to be doing.
She's a director, and she's
a novelist, a
novelist and a director. She's married to Daniel Day-Lewis. She's fucking amazing. She's killing it at life.
Yes.
This part just betrays her. It's just not.
It's not her fault.
No, but so she's wearing a red wig. And that's what happens in a lot of 80s and 90s movies. All of a sudden, a woman's in a wig. She looks totally different.
She's totally different. Oh my God, why don't she put some glasses on and you'll never know?
She's a librarian by day and a hooker by night. Like, we've had a lot of those. Sorry. sex
So
workers.
many.
So many. So she's singing at this group, like 20 people in the audience. She's got the red wig going. And then Kevin Kline, like, finds her, is like, yo, what's up? What happened? And she says, I'm sorry. It's a scheme Eddie and I were doing. I owed him. So what? I don't even know how they make sense of this.
Yeah, actually, I'm actually paying attention, and I'm still not sure why she's not dead. Why he swaps her.
Whose body was it?
Yeah, whose body is it in there? And also, there's easier ways to make money than this, but
then faking a murder.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, there's a lot of people you have to fool, like the police and the coroner. I mean,
yeah. So there's a whole thing about like they swap out Kay for this like other rando blonde chick that I guess Eddie hired, and then he gets like his like doctor friend to like examine the body and verify that it's Kay when it's not Kay. And I'm like, I'm not an expert, but years of Law and Order have taught me that I'm like, aren't there like county coroners and things like this that we're talking about someone who was murdered. Like,
you would think it would be all over the news.
Yeah, you don't get a family doctor or whatever to like examine a murder scene. You get like a coroner, like someone who works with the police. How do they not know that this is not Kay? Is what I could not wrap my head around.
It made no sense because he beat her face in so that she would be recognized.
Yeah, I guess that. Yeah.
But wouldn't she have fingerprints? I mean, they still fingerprint people. They still had dental records. They still.
Yeah. And then,
I don't know.
Yeah. So
tattoos. I mean, it could have been.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'm like, I don't know how far ahead we want to get, but because then it happens again.
Well, yeah. So it happens again. And then she gets murdered, and now Kevin Kline's like, shit, all of them are getting murdered. Like, I gotta watch out for my wife because she's now living with Kevin Spacey with my daughter. And at some point, Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio like feels sorry for Kevin Kline and says, you can visit with our daughter. She wants to have that relationship. And Kevin Spacey is worried because he wants that control over her. So the whole thing is that they have this fancy new house, and Kevin Kline shows up and like sneaks in.
Again, this shit happens within like a fucking week. Like
it's unreal. Even like a month. It's just like it just ratchets up to 20. And then he sneaks into the house, and Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio now is bound and gagged. Like she's going to be murdered because Kevin Spacey, he's got to murder her too, Eddie.
Yes.
He's going to make Kevin Kline look like he's just murdering all these women.
With
Eddie knows.
With a baseball bat. Like there's like a baseball bat lying around, and I was like, was this lying around because he was going to murder Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio with it and make it look like this is Richard's thing? He just goes around and bashes in people with baseball bats, or is the bat just happened to be there? I don't know. That part is not exactly clear to me either.
But also, Kevin Spacey then interrupts Kevin Kline, who's trying to interrupt this murder, and he's got an automatic weapon, like shooting like into the ceiling, into all the walls.
Yes.
Doesn't hit Kevin Kline once.
No. He's a very bad shot. He's very good with a bat. Very bad with a gun.
Not good with a gun. And they're kind of tussling around. And eventually Kevin Kline just kills him.
Well, what happened is Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio gets loose. And she picks up
Mastrantonio.
Yeah, we have a loose Mastrantonio running around. She picks up the bat and smashes Kevin Spacey in the head.
So sort of like Fatal Attraction.
Exactly.
The wife has to take care of her husband's bullshit.
Yes.
Once again.
Let me do that emotional labor for you, Richard.
Because you can't even fucking kill right.
You can't even do this right. God damn it, Richard, you fucking pussy.
You had one job.
You had one job, Richard. It was to save my life from the neighbor that I didn't want to be friends with in the first place. You can't even do that right.
You can't even. And then, do they get together? Like, do they hug at the end? Or I'm sure they hug.
Yeah,
at
well,
the end.
so then at the end, like it, they're like riding together in a car, and it's like on the radio, like Richard's been cleared of all this stuff because his neighbor was crazy.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
go
then
ahead.
it ends with. This is hilarious, you guys. This is the nobody's perfect kind of ending. It's Richard and Priscilla are now moving into a new house, and the house, you guys, it's in the middle of nowhere with no neighbors. Isn't that hilarious? It's because the neighbors were the problem, not not Richard. Dun 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 dun.
That's the fucking movie.
I'm like, I love that, like, somehow Richard and Priscilla are able to fucking work it out after, like, sorry about the whole wife swapping murder thing. Nobody's perfect. And they move into a new house with no neighbors. Problem solved.
Like, she wouldn't dump him. Like, she wouldn't just cut her losses. She's beautiful. She's successful. Yeah, they have a daughter. She'll figure it out.
Yeah,
at some point. Like, that's kind of a loser. I get it.
Yeah, but that's not what and this is what Katrina Longworth is talking about in her episode of You Must Remember This too, is that these movies, the like neighbor from hell, the mistress from hell, the roommate from hell, like a lot of them are at the end kind of reinforcing this, like the typical family unit.
Has to be preserved.
Has to be preserved at all costs. And that's what's happening here. Like, ultimately, like, Richard and Priscilla have to be back together with their daughter because that's what's most important in the whole world is that.
And, yeah, those women aren't safe with him around.
What? Seriously? Like...
What is he good for? I mean... He's cute. I mean, look, I love Kevin Kline. He's adorable.
Look, we all love Kevin Kline. I get it. But, like... It's a huge flaw in this movie that they think we're rooting for Kevin Kline, and I'm not rooting for Kevin Kline because he signed off on letting another man rape his wife.
Right.
While he raped somebody else's wife. And so I'm just like, you're a villain too, dude. You're a villain too. But, Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio deserves better.
And she does better. She does better stuff. Robin Hood. What else has she been in?
Well, I love her in The Abyss. I think she's...
The Abyss is her best.
Like,
she's
I
so
love
good in
The
that.
Abyss. And she's good in The Color of Money. Like,
yes.
I love her. Like, I think she's great. And her and Kevin Kline did another movie together before this called The January Man, which he had the mustache. It was a comedy. And,
okay.
I remember liking that movie. I haven't seen it in a long time, but I remember liking it at the time.
I haven't seen it in a long time either. So let's start with another thing. So I posted it in the What a Creep podcast Facebook group.
Yes.
That there is, so I've looked, of course I have to look up what were the original reviews because I don't remember them. I mean, I was alive in 92. I read newspapers then.
Yeah.
I used to read the movie criticisms. I loved that stuff because
oh my God. Always. I read Entertainment Weekly and watched Siskel and Ebert.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the time.
That's what we did. That's how we prepared, like what we were going to do that week and what we were going to see. And I'm trying to find the reviews for this movie, and they're like scrubbed or something because there's the New York Times and there's Entertainment Weekly and TV Guide. Like nobody gives it above like a 70.
Right.
Okay. So then I look up Siskel and Ebert.
Oh my God.
And
yes.
their review of this, and that's what I posted in our group.
Yes.
And Gene Siskel is rightfully making fun of it. Like, this is just another one of those person from hell doing this really dumb thing. It's badly written.
Mm-hmm.
It makes no sense. It's just ludicrous. Not mentioning the rape part. Nobody does, by the way.
Yes, nobody does. And that was not
nobody.
That was not the discussion at the time. At the time,
no.
Nobody would have said that this that there was like unconsensual sex going on here. It'd be like, well, the husbands approved it, therefore it's consensual.
Right. So Ebert really takes umbrage with this criticism and gets upset and says to Gene, "You don't get it. This movie's a comedy. It's an excellent film." And it's a comedy.
It's not like what the
about
fuck?
excessive 90s consumerism or whatever. I'm
Is-
like, what the fuck movie did you see? So then I went to the Roger and Ebert site to look
Yeah.
up the original review. Not there. I then go to Chicago Sun-Times to look up the review. Not there. Then I go to newspapers.com, which is a service I subscribe to, and Chicago Tribune is there, but not Chicago Sun-Times.
Oh.
So there's no archive of his review.
I think
'Cause
he's
I'm-
ashamed.
I must have been, because I'm like, and I had to really do some digging to find other people. There's a few. Janet Maslin of the New York Times mentions, like, for some reason the wives aren't consulted about this.
Yes.
And that's kind of as strong as that of a pushback that it gets. Now, the people trashing the movie are like, it's just awful, on every level. But nobody seems to really, this is just like the Times, like this is 30 years ago.
Yeah.
That nobody realized, like, that's not just some sexy twist to the story. Like,
No.
this is actually assault. It's rape.
Yes.
And these women don't deserve this to happen to them.
No.
Nobody does. And they're not asking for it just because she flirted when they played touch football. I mean,
Right. Correct.
Ugh.
And there's also we did a episode on single white female, and there's also kind of a role reversal of this where the Jennifer Jason Leigh character dresses up like Bridget Fonda and assaults Bridget Fonda's boyfriend.
right.
This was just like a common thing in these 90s movies. It's
Yeah.
I think there's some shit in Basic Instinct too, where I'm like, what the fuck?
And
Like,
also, Motley Crue and the Dirt, they had a whole story about this guy convinced that guy to have sex with the girlfriend in the closet, and she had no idea. And it was just a goof.
Yeah.
Like, they're
I'm
just
like,
going to have
it's not-
sex anyway, so who cares who's doing it,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
And it's awful. It's a terrible message. But just going beyond that, okay, so we're just saying, like, that plot point is really disgusting.
Yes.
Okay. This movie just doesn't make any fucking
No.
sense.
It doesn't make any sense. I'm telling you, I could not comprehend. Again, easier ways to make money. Let's go back to the line from Fargo. Like, all of this for a little bit of money.
Right.
One of my favorite things. But I don't understand how Kevin Spacey expects to get away with what he's doing. I don't understand that, like, city and county coroners aren't involved in this, and that they clearly are like, well, his wife was blonde and she's blonde, so that must be her. And then another body shows up and it's like, well, that can't be Kay because she has red hair. Like, all of that is so weird to me.
And it's stupid.
Yes.
It's just got plot holes you could drive a truck through. These people don't act like anybody you know. Thank God.
Yeah,
don't wanna-
if you know people like this, I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry if they're your neighbor. Like, lock the doors, get extra,
Move.
move if you
Yeah,
can.
get a
But,
dog.
yeah,
Get a big dog.
get a dog. Get, like, screaming babies or something to, like, turn them away from.
Oh my
you,
God!
'cause
Now that I think about it, I can't believe that, like, Richard and Priscilla don't have a dog that somehow ends up dead, because that is also a recurring thing in all these
Or a
early
cat.
90s. Yes,
Yeah.
a pet that shows up dead.
Or a gay best friend who's
Where's-
trying to warn everybody.
Where's the gay best friend? That's right.
So there are original. They didn't stick to those tropes, but
Yeah.
they're trying just to do what they have. They're just leading us up. Like, there's just so much sexual tension between Kay and Kevin Costner, and it's like,
Kevin Kline.
whatever. Kevin Kline,
One of the Kevins.
one of the Kevins, and it's so just silly. It's so overstated, and it's so silly. And then they really try to glamorize when he's assaulting her, essentially. And then,
Oh my God, they try to make it look so sexy.
Right. Like it just makes total sense that she wouldn't turn around at all or whatever. But anyway,
Yes.
but when they get actually to her holding the newspaper, it said backdoor sale. I was like, okay, this is funny. 'cause
Backdoor
this is
visitors
stupid.
are the best.
It's the doors, backdoor man. Like I get it, but
I don't get
just-
it.
I know, right? It's just how this went through all because this goes, and I know nobody wants to make a bad movie. And
No, of course
once
not.
again, Pakula is top notch. Was a good director.
Yeah, I mean, watch All the President's Men. It's great,
Yeah.
and for say what you want about like something like Presumed Innocent, like it's bonkers as well, but it's like it's competently made. I'm like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
look up some of his other ones because
Yeah, because this one just there's no subtlety here. It's just really gross. It's
Yeah.
super. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people. Of course, go to IMDb.
oh my
and
god, he
I love-
directed Clute,
Yes, he directed Clue. That's the director.
All the President's Men, Sophie's Choice.
Hmm.
And then it's like diminishing returns after. It's like See You in the Morning and Presumed Innocent, Consenting Adults, The Pelican Brief, and The Devil's Own. Brr.
Yeah, the writing is terrible. It's
so
just
terrible. Nobody
it's-
behaves like a person
nobody.
in this movie.
no. This is like Lifetime movie,
Yes, this is
And-
absolutely Lifetime movie.
and for a Lifetime movie, it'd be great.
This is
But
true.
but I mean, just to take that plot point out of it. I mean, why couldn't they just be into it? Why couldn't you just have the swapping happen?
Yeah, if
Really, like the women being into it.
yes, I mean that isn't part of Kevin Spacey's plan for stealing money and murdering people apparently, but like why? Yeah, just fucking ask the wives. They probably say, well, I mean,
They'd say no.
Kay might have been into it, but like
Kay would have, yeah.
Priscilla would have been all
Kevin
fuck
Kline.
off. She's
Yeah,
like,
but
I'm not going to
Priscilla's not.
sleep with Kevin Spacey. Don't be gross.
So that's the problem.
Yeah.
She wouldn't want to sleep
No.
with him. So why are we pretending? But they have no agency. Like this.
Correct.
This movie gives them nothing to do except to phone things in, like the plot in to help the men along. And it's and look, I love Kevin Spacey. Does sleazy very, very well.
Yes. He excels at this.
He does. He's really great. And Kevin Kline's doing the best he can with a shit part.
For sure. Kevin Kline is very likable. It's very smart on their part to cast someone like Kevin Kline in this part, because even when he's playing like a creep, like you like him because he's Kevin Kline.
Oh no, it's Ken and he's gonna kill me. He's gonna kill me.
He's such a dick
such
in
an
that
asshole.
movie. Don't call me stupid. He's such an asshole in that movie. But like he's also just a very, very funny person, and you like him. We all like Kevin Kline.
I like all these people. Okay.
Yeah.
I know not Spacey, of course.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, it's like I said, I can find tons of reviews. I love IMDb reviews. I
Yeah.
love it when people, 8 stars out of 10. I don't know why people don't like this thing. It's awesome. And it's like from 2005. I'm like, well, I'd love to revisit some people.
At men's rights activist 69 says this movie's a 9 out of 10.
Ben Shapiro says, I thought it was really good.
I thought it was hilarious.
I thought it was hilarious. I was laughing the whole time. I thought it was very believable and hilarious.
It's so good. How come this didn't win all the awards?
Because of the leftists.
That's right. The liberal media doesn't want you to see this movie.
Ugh.
Gross.
All right, so do we put a capper on that?
Yes. I have a list for you of other thrillers from the 90s.
Let's hear it.
Okay. All of these are early 90s. So I already mentioned Presumed Innocent. What did you think of Presumed Innocent when you saw it at the time?
I didn't like it then. I thought it was a very poor adaptation of a book I really enjoyed. I think they really did Greta Scotchke.
Yeah.
They did her dirty. I think she's playing a character that's a far more not innocent, excuse me, interesting than they give her.
Yeah.
And I agree with Katrina Longworth because I watched it again this past week, and it's racist as fuck.
Oh, interesting. See, I haven't seen it since like the theater.
Yeah, it's got Chicago politics and the way African Americans are treated. Not great.
Good to know.
So just sort of preparing you that way.
Okay.
And what was? Oh, yes, you were saying these are early 90s.
Yes. Malice. Do you remember
that's
this?
a good one.
Yeah.
We have to do that one day.
For sure. That, and if you don't know this one, it's the one with Nicole Kidman and Alec Baldwin and I think Bill Pullman, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Deceived.
Who's in that?
Goldie Hawn. Remember when Goldie Hawn made a thriller and she's married to John Hurd, if I remember correctly.
Oh, there's a scene where there's a cat that scares her.
That sounds right.
I remember the commercial. She runs a lot.
So many of the women running in this one. There's a movie called Shattered from 1991. Do you remember Shattered?
No. Wait, who's in this?
Also Greta Scacchi.
Uh-huh.
And Tom Berenger.
No, I don't remember this. I like my Berenger.
After a horrific car wreck leaves him with amnesia, a man slowly begins to unravel his shocking past.
Oh.
Ooh. Mortal Thoughts. Do you remember this one?
No.
Demi Moore, Bruce Willis, in a small part, is like I think he's like an abusive husband in this movie. Two detectives interrogate a hairdresser on two homicides she may or may not have been involved in. Demi Moore, Gene Headley, Bruce Willis, directed by Alan Rudolph.
Nope.
Okay, keep going. Unlawful Entry.
Was it through the backdoor sale?
That's a double feature right there.
Right.
Now, if I remember correctly on this one, it's Ray Liotta is the like creepy.
Oh, yeah. Creepy dude. Yeah. No. I like
Kurt Russell, Ray Liotta, Madeline Stowe. I was like,
I have seen this.
I'm like, we should maybe put this one on the list. This looks like
I think so.
I think that might be something we're into. Guilty as Sin.
I do know that. Who was in it?
Directed by Sidney Lumet, and it stars Rebecca De Mornay and Don Johnson.
Oh, yeah. I think it's a law thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then we have A Kiss Before Dying.
I know I've seen it. Is that Nicolas Cage?
No, I think that one is... Oh, shit. What is that one? This one is Matt Dillon and Sean Young. Listen to this one, though. This is a good summary. A determined student murders his pregnant secret girlfriend and moves on with her twin sister, who gradually becomes suspicious of her new lover.
Is Sean Young the young one?
I guess so.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, all right, you.
Okay.
Final Analysis.
I do know that one.
Yeah.
It's Uma Thurman and Richard Gere.
Yeah.
And Kim Basinger.
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
Mm-hmm. Poison Ivy.
That's a gross one.
It's so gross.
Oh, poor Drew Barrymore.
Drew Barrymore really wanted to. She was trying to change her image, so she did these. Like she did like the Amy Fisher like TV movie, and she did Poison Ivy, and she was doing.
I'm not a kid anymore.
Yeah, I'm not a kid anymore. Look how sexy I am. But Poison Ivy's real gross. It's icky. And then the last one is Basic Instinct.
Did we do that already?
We have not done it yet.
Yeah, we should do that one.
We definitely should.
All right, so these are the top songs. It's October 17th, 1992. That's when this movie came out.
Okay.
There are some bops here. I'm just telling you.
I'm ready.
People Every Day, Arrested Development.
I loved Arrested Development.
Me too.
Loved.
Baby, Baby, Baby by TLC.
I love TLC. Still love TLC.
Firehouse, When I Look Into Your Eyes. It's one of those hairband metal ballad
Totally,
things.
but I know exactly what song that is.
This song is fucking great. PM Dawn, I Die Without You.
Oh, PM Dawn.
So good.
Mm-hmm.
KWS, Please Don't Go. Please don't,
Don't go. Don't go. Yes.
High Five, She's Playing Hard to Get.
She might not just be into you, dude. It's
Yeah, exactly.
But okay.
I love this one. Bobby Brown, Humping Around.
I was all in on the Bobby Brown. This was the album after My Prerogative.
The really good one.
Yeah. But Humping Around was a jam.
That first album was great.
Yes,
My Prerogative album, really good. Okay, number 3. This song, can't escape it still. House of Pain, Jump Around.
Yep. I still love that song.
Me too. I'm white. White Irish girl. Basic ass bitch from the 90s. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Patty Smythe. Sometimes Love Just Ain't Enough. That was a
yeah.
big ballad with Don Henley.
Yes. I was in the bag for Don Henley, by the way.
Don Henley can have this.
I loved his whole age of, what's it called? The End of Innocence, Last Worthless Evening, that whole album. I was into it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Axl Rose sang on the album.
Did he? I don't remember.
I will not find out.
Oh my god.
I will not go quietly. I love
That's
that album.
right. Oh my god.
He could have this still. I think Don Henley's very sexy. He wouldn't want it, but he can have it.
He would want it. Come on.
Anyway, Boys to Men, number 1 song. Boys to Men, End of the Road.
Shit. You couldn't get away from that one.
Oh my god.
It was the ending credits music for the movie Boomerang, and I was working at the theater then, so I listened to that song 5 times a day. It's
Oh my goodness.
I could not get away from it. I literally couldn't.
No, it's your job. You had to listen to it.
Exactly. What else are you dorking out about, my friend?
I started the last season of Amazon's The Marvelous Mrs. Maisels.
And?
I'm liking it, but I have questions. Have you started it?
No, because
you've never seen it.
I bailed after the first season, but I'll tell you, I do watch clips sometimes on the internets, mainly because it's clothes porn for me. The clothes in the movie is I want all of it. Get in my closet.
Yeah.
So you could
That's
spoil
exactly
things
how
for
you
me.
dress.
Go for it.
Yeah. See, it's you're her and I'm almost the manager. Not quite the manager, but
You're hilarious.
But anyway. So Mrs. Maisels, this is their last season and they're going back and forth in time. So sometimes it's 81 and sometimes it's 1961.
Ooh, okay.
And so they're showing, she has these 2 kids that everyone jokes about, she just neglects these kids. Everyone babysits them.
She's never with her kids.
Never. There's no mothering instinct in her. And it's okay. Not everybody has to be uber mom, but it's coming to bite her in the ass. So, but she also doesn't age a day. But then I'm well, it's only 20 years. It's not
right
50. But anyway, Hulu TV, I was watching this last night. They have a Tupac Shakur documentary going on. It's called Dear Mama.
Yes.
I started watching it last night. There's 3 parts now.
Okay.
And I think it's going to be 5 altogether. Thought it was really, really good.
Okay. It's putting it on the list.
I mean, a tragic figure, somebody who, he's so much charisma.
Oh my
so
God.
gorgeous.
So much charisma. That dude could have, the whole world was, he was going to take over the world. He was such a talented artist, such a talented writer. His acting was he had it all, man. All. He
really did. And he had a lot of demons. And also talk about sexual assault. He went to jail for that. Yeah. So not a perfect person.
Yeah, no.
For sure. But this, the first 3 parts are about his early career, but it's right up to Digital Underground. We get a lot of Digital Underground stuff, which I love the Digital Underground. My jam.
We both love the Digital Underground. You love it when I'm listening to Digital Underground and Tupac shows up, and because so much of what we remember about him was that he was he was hard. He was
Right, Thug Life.
Yeah, and he's so fun with Digital Underground.
He was going to school. He was in Baltimore, and he went to performing arts school, and he was being interviewed back then. Like, they did video interviews with him. He was just like a teenager, a kid. And his life changed so much. So he was in New York, then he was in Baltimore, and then he moves to the Bay Area in Marin, and then Digital Underground does really well. He gets a bank account for the first time in his life.
Oh my gosh.
Because he's making money.
Yeah.
He jaywalks in Oakland to go to the bank, and the cops arrest him, beat the shit out of him, put him in jail. So then I forgot all about this. So he's suing. And then he does all these interviews because his family wanted him to take over the Black Panther Party, like start over again.
Ah, interesting.
And so he was kind of groomed to be a speaker and groomed to be. So he sued for that. And to be honest, like, I have to wait for the documentary to find out. But he's so interesting.
Yes.
And the bullshit. He was on this one panel, and this woman is like, you know, they have a white lady, they have a white dude, and they have a cop, and then they have Tupac.
Yeah.
And it's Jane, what's her face? Jane Pratt. She had like a talk show for like a minute. And she's like, do you write songs about, like, the white lady is screeching at him, you write songs that are about cop killers? And he's like, no, I don't. And the cop's like, how do you like write songs against? He goes, I don't write anything against you. I'm against police abuse.
Yeah. And if you think that's against you, well, that says something about you.
Right, and it's exactly how he says it. And he says with a big grin on his face, like, he's just so likable. It's wild to see how his life changed. And then a lot of them talk about he goes from Oakland, then he moves to LA. He's super famous. His mother's in rehab, and he doesn't have any friends there. They're all like Snoop Dogg and Dre, which is not exactly, they're awesome, but they're not going to keep you out of trouble.
No, they help you get into trouble.
They will not calm your life down.
Correct.
But anyway, there's 3 parts, really interesting. So I started watching that last night. John Mulaney on Netflix. I started it. I haven't finished it yet. But I do like John Mulaney. I find him
he's naturally funny.
He is. I feel like, he's revealing things in his own way and in his own time.
Yeah.
I wish he would talk about the Dave Chappelle thing, but
yeah, we talked about
it's not something he's going to address.
We talked about this in our What a Creep bonus episode, and I have, there are all these people that loved John Mulaney's early stuff, and he was one of those wife guys that we have talked about before. And, he also clearly had like a substance problem, a drug problem, and he got clean and sober. He cheated on his wife, I guess, and eventually had a baby with Olivia Munn. And he also had a lot of old jokes where it was, we're not gonna have kids. That was the thing. So then there's all these people that feel betrayed by him because they're like, hey, you're supposed to be one of us, one of the people that, like, is like sweet to your wife and not have kids, and like, and so they feel betrayed for that. Margot and I feel betrayed because he is someone who has been touring, and he's been like surprising people with like letting Dave Chappelle open for him. And I was like, that's shitty to your like trans fans that are there to see you because they think it's a safe space. And then you bring in Chappelle, and he starts making his like fucking transphobic jokes, and you've created a hostile environment for these people. And we think that's garbage. But
it's fucking garbage.
Yeah.
You're charging a lot of money for these people. They're devoted fans. I mean, he has devoted fans.
Yes,
like, they go to all of his
gigs.
They do. He's a complex. He's much more complex.
Yeah, and that's okay.
Which is fine.
Yeah. They're coming for you. They're coming for you.
They are coming.
I do think he is like an amazingly funny person.
Absolutely.
And we've talked about this on the show before, where whenever I feel like really bummed out, I will watch like every Stefan ever on like YouTube. Bill Hader playing Stefan, and Stefan was written by John Mulaney, and it's just joke. It's so fucking funny to me. He's hilarious.
Yeah, he's great, and it's doing really well, and I hope he's, I know it's a struggle, what he's going through.
Yeah.
And, and I just wish, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
something's out there. Love and Death on HBO. So on What a Creep, we talked about the Candy Montgomery
Yeah.
murder of Betty Gore thing. And so there was Candy that came out on Hulu with Jessica.
Yes. And I saw
Biel.
that one.
Yes. So this one's with Elizabeth Olsen and Jesse Plemons.
And I do love them. It's just, I've already seen this.
Yeah. And it's David E. Kelly writing it.
Okay.
I don't know. They have 3 episodes up on HBO Max. Of course, I watched it because I do like my true crime, and I like watching different actors take on
that makes
different
sense.
takes on the material. So I do find that interesting. And I do. Elizabeth Olsen, I think, can just do anything. I think
She's amazing.
At this point, and Jesse Plemons is like, is there anyone more human than him?
I know
on screen.
He's so great too. That's some good casting.
Yeah. So that's all I got.
Those are great. I finished the Boston Marathon bomber documentary.
That's a hard one.
It's a hard one to watch. I really like those Netflix documentaries. There was a lot of stuff I honestly didn't remember.
Yeah.
And for that, like just how they track down these bombers, like getting like the inside scoop and getting the like when to reveal the names, when to release the pictures. If you're a fan of Boston accents, this is your jam because there's some really good ones. There's some good accents in this, but I think it's sometimes it's hard to watch because
they started off with the bombing.
Yeah.
Like, there's no easing into it. Like
Yeah.
you just feel it. It's a shock almost like was a shock to the people when it happened at the time.
Yes.
I have a lot of friends I used to have a lot of friends that were I still have friends that are runners, but I was in the cycling community, and Boston's a huge marathon.
Yes.
It is a big fucking deal to be able to do it, to participate, and the people there. My brother Joe used to go every year and cheer people on, and the sign games are just. Your ass looks wicked awesome. Run like somebody calls you a jogger.
That's so great.
It's so great. And those things really do. I love the New York Marathon.
Yeah,
it's one of my favorite. It's fun.
Yeah, and it's a very good documentary, and all of that. It is those parts are hard to watch, but it's really well done. But I also was really interested in the part about like kind of the manhunt part about when they move to like a certain segment of Boston. It's like a smaller, like neighborhoody type place where these 2, suspects were hiding. And so they eventually get one of them, but one of them is hiding. So they closed down that whole fucking town, and they went door to door and like searched houses looking for this guy. And also there was a huge gunfight, a massive gunfight. It's like a miracle that like bystanders weren't killed. And they interview all the people that were like living around there, and there were cell phones when this happened. So there's all kinds of other footage. I think it's really well done. I think it's interesting. So if you like true crime and like police procedurals and things like that, I think it's very good. I also started The Diplomat.
I haven't started that yet. Is it good?
I like it. Now, I've read some things where people aren't loving it because there's like her character. I kind of understand some people's frustration. So like the whole thing is Carrie Russell's character is supposed to be an ambassador to Kabul. That's where she's supposed to go. But instead she ends up getting sent to London. And she's like, I don't care about London. I want to help the people, in the Middle East. That's her whole thing. So she kind of looks down on it. And she's also like she's not someone who wants to play politics. She doesn't want to like put on a dress and do the Vogue spread and be like, I'm your new ambassador. Like she's more like, I only wear pants and like, I'm not fussy, I guess. And so people are taking that as like, I don't know, like they're taking it kind of shitty in a way that it's like she has to be like masculine to be good at her job, I guess is how people are taking it. I didn't take it that way. I like Carrie Russell. I think this show is like West Wing-ish. in that there's a lot of walking and talking, and it's talking about big things, but there's also this like soapy element to it, and there's some comedy in there too. So it kind of reminds me of something David E. Kelly might write as well. I think it's good. It's made me like, now I'm at work and I'm always like, I'm thinking about everything in a political way when I'm at work, and I'm like, girl, you've been watching The Diplomat too much. Like, people are just trying to do their jobs. But I think it's very watchable, and I love Kerry Russell, and then what's the guy, Russell Sewell? Rufus, thank you, Rufus Sewell. Sorry, everyone, I didn't write down his name. He plays like her husband, who used to be like an ambassador. So there's this weird dynamic between them, and like, I don't know. I feel like he very often plays a creep, so I can't figure out if he's a good guy or a bad guy, and I think that's probably on purpose. But I think it's very watchable. Definitely check it out because I want to hear what you think.
I definitely will check it out. Rufus Sewell was in Cold Comfort Farm. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie.
No, would I like it?
Yeah, I think you would.
Okay.
He's great, and he plays somebody who wants to be a movie star. It's like set, in the past in England, in the 40s, I think. But we did a book versus movie, was one of my other shows, and that clip is on YouTube. Like, that episode is on YouTube, and the only episode that I ever got criticism for anything I've ever done was that one. And it's like old cranky people like writing, these women don't know what they're talking about. You didn't even mention that it was a play at one time. Like, it's
oh my, who are these people?
Who are these people?
Who are these people? There's no grapes, there's no nuts. Why do they call it grape nuts?
Didn't they mention there's a play? Oh my God. Like, I swear I had to turn off the comments for it because it was just annoying me so much.
Fucking weirdos.
It was so weirdos do great things on YouTube. I mean, it's like the bigger waste of time I can't think of. But anyway, he's very good in that part. That's like one of my favorite parts with him. But he's like real handsome. And
he is. He's handsome in this. He's a little older. He's got the salt and pepper.
Which
like
I love.
Going on. Yeah. I'm like, I get it. It's like full daddy vibes. I get it.
Yeah.
And I think it's very watchable. I'm like 2 episodes in, so I don't have like a full read on it, but I really like what I've seen so far. It feels like a great show for like to watch while I paint my nails or fold my laundry.
That we always need that.
And we always need that. I also finished Ultimate Girls Trip.
Okay.
This show's fucking bananas. It again, so watchable. So hilarious to me that they throw in these 2 Salt Lake City housewives, Whitney and Heather, who are just fucking rookies compared to all these other women. It's hilarious to me.
And they make hay out of like a tequila bottle.
Yeah, it's so stupid.
It's so lame. I know people are complaining about it, but I'm like, I don't know. It's just mindless fun.
But that's what this show is.
I know. People want too much from things sometimes. It gives me exactly what I want.
Yes, the show is they take all these housewives, most of them get drunk, and they behave badly and they fight. That's what the show is.
It's all that it is.
And that's what they do. And that way, it's great. It's perfect, just the way it is. I also went away for the weekend with my sister last weekend, and she has been rewatching Fleabag. So then we watched a whole bunch of Fleabag together, and then I continued to finish Fleabag again. This might be my 3rd time watching Fleabag because I think the show it's perfect.
Yeah.
It's perfect. That's the thing. I'm like, this is my 3rd rewatch of the show. And again, every time I'm like, perfection.
Yeah.
She's
amazing.
There's not a thing wrong with that show. And the last episode, like, it's just like, it'll pass. And it's like, oh, right in the gut. It's so good. I just love it.
Yeah.
So, hey, spoiler, or hot take, everybody. Fleabag is really good. But it is really good. And we already mentioned You Must Remember This. I'm obsessed, and it's like the first thing I like. The minute that episode drops, I'm like listening to it.
On Tuesdays, it's like I got to get out of bed to work out, and I'm like, oh, You Must Remember This. That's gonna give me the motivation.
Yes, she's doing a whole erotic 90s right now, which is what inspired this episode. It's so good. Love.
And I think she's doing Basic Instinct next week.
Yes.
Which is, I mean, that's an all-time.
She's going to have so many thoughts.
She's so brilliant. I love how she connects the dots. I love how the research that she does is incredible. You know,
yes.
Does she mispronounce things occasionally? Yeah.
Who doesn't?
But
that's my jam.
Who
I
doesn't?
get it.
Yeah, who doesn't? I mean, yeah, people are just sort of like, I don't know about her voice. I mean, yeah, I know somebody used to always complain about her voice. I'm like, it's her voice, what she's supposed to do. Like, that's how she
you
talks.
Know what? I think the first time I heard her voice, I was like, I was like, well, that's different, or I don't know how I feel about that. But now I like it, and I expect it, and I like that about her, and I like that it's kind of quirky and different, and
she's putting some energy into it.
Yeah,
like she wrote, her scripts are brilliant, by the way.
Yes.
And she does all, like I said, all this research, does all the writing for it. Like you could tell she's the one that just leads it all and has a clear eye on like what she's trying to get across.
Yes.
And yeah, and she's kind of putting on as she's doing it. I mean, now she used to not do any social media, very little. Now she's actually on Instagram. She's been doing some videos of her recording, and she just, and she's like, and she has fun talking. I don't know. She's like not doing the super casual thing. She's doing a thing like she's really giving you information.
Yes.
And she's passionate. And that's what I love about it.
Yes.
Because there's so many podcasts where people just shoot the shit like we do. But we're trying to be focused.
But that's what this one is. Like, and that's not what her show is, a serious deep dive on something, and it is always like well thought out, meticulous in the writing.
Yeah.
And I love how she connects those dots in a way that like I never thought about it before. It's so good.
She gives her personal opinion. You know, it's great. It really, and there's stuff like Camille Paglia. I remember like that bullshit that woman was peddling in the 90s. And I love that she's calling her out on it. And there's just lots. You know, if you're a movie fan, and a history buff, it's good. It's the best.
Yes. And and as a woman, I like hearing a woman's perspective on these things.
Yes.
I think that film criticism for most of its existence was male dominated, and I like hearing a woman talk about it and look at it from that perspective. It's appreciated.
Yep.
So I think that's plenty of stuff here. Let's bring this in for a landing. My friend, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter at Brooklyn Margot. I'm on Instagram at Brooklyn Fit Chick. My site is Brooklyn Fit Chick, and I am on TikTok at Margot Donahue.
You should definitely follow her on TikTok. She is always sharing like clips of movies and all kinds of cool things that she is watching, reading, listening to, and her adorable kitten. So
my new kitten, Sadie Fierce.
She's so cute.
She is a dynamo. I'm just crazy about it. And of course, I love you, T, my other cat, too.
Yes, of course. If you like the sound of our voices, we also host What a Creep, where we talk about creeps of the past and the present, and we end every episode with someone who's not a creep. Our current one out right now is about the Disco Demolition Day night. Thank you. That happened in the 70s. It's real good. Margot did such a good job on that one. So
thank you.
Please take a listen. You can find me at thesoniashow.com and The Sonia Show on Twitter and Instagram and the TikTok. If you want to email us a request, you can email us at dorkinoutshow@gmail.com. We take requests. And if you give us your address, we'll send you some stickers. They're real cute. They're adorable. Everybody drink. Please like and subscribe to our podcast. It helps us find our people. And you can find more about our show at dorkinoutshow.com and dorkinoutshow on Twitter. And you could go to Facebook if you want to.
We a lot of our stuff is on our What a Creep Facebook page. So
Yes.
if you're trying to join that group and you're like, I can't, we have 3 questions. If you can't answer them, sorry, that's just what we had to do.
That's just what we have to do. I don't know. Email us and ask for the answers.
Yes.
And we'll help you out. Let's do that. Or listen to What a Creep. Listen to one episode and you'll be able to answer those questions. We promise. So anyway, this was super fun. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get someone to swap some wives with me.